So as you know, as we are taking a break in the legislative session, there was also a big announcement this week as well regarding the midterm elections of 2026. Yes, we are already talking about the elections of next year and more candidates throwing their hat in the ring, which is kind of exciting to see what this field is going to look like moving forward. And we have our next guest right on the program as we go. And do we have our candidate? Here we go. Yeah.
It's time to get to know the candidate.
That's right. And we already know him because he's been a regular guest on the program already as a state representative, but he has officially thrown his hat in the ring with his announcement for a candidate for Secretary of State. Really happy to have on here State Representative Pat Proctor. Pat, what's going on, brother? Congratulations on the announcement.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you for having me. It's been an exciting week, and I'm looking forward to getting on the campaign trail.
Yeah, you have been, for those that don't know, you've been really heavily involved on the legislative side, and we've talked about it before, but you run the elections committee. You've focused a lot on election issues in the state legislature. Is that what made you throw your hat in the ring and want to take it to another level, wanting to be a candidate for Secretary of State?
Yeah, it really is. You know, for the last 5 years since the 2020 election, we haven't really been having a conversation about elections. We've been having a shouting match. So I've tried to make the committee a platform for us to have a conversation where everybody gets to state their side, and then they're going to get questioned on. It's going to get some pushback. But I've also been able to pass a lot of things to fix vulnerabilities in our election system. And you mentioned the veto session. I'm going to have a busy week because we had a real banner year this year, and I've got a lot of bills that are almost certainly getting vetoed that we're going to have to defend on the floor.
Yeah, it's been a hot topic this year for sure. So for some that may not have been able to follow it as closely, what bills have we seen this year? I know that you guys have been able to end the 3-day grace period for the mail-in ballots, which is really awesome. That was a big victory, and I believe that was one that the governor vetoed, right?
Yeah, so Election Day is going to be Election Day again. Imagine that. We're going to join the 32 other states in the nation that have figured out that you should stop taking ballots on election night. We overrode or veto on that. But something I'm excited about is I carried a bill in the committee and on the floor that requires the DMV to share the citizenship data they have with the Secretary of State's office on a regular basis so we can scrub our voter rolls and get non-citizens off the voter rolls. The Democrats are screaming bloody murder, saying it never happens, but Secretary of State's office was in our committee testifying on the bill. So they found 80 people who were on the voter rolls who were non-citizens, and they think 20 of them voted. My senator here in Leavenworth who got elected by 31 votes. 20 votes is a big deal.
Yeah.
We need to be scrubbing our voter rolls regularly, and so we can assure Kansans non-citizens aren't voting.
Yeah, that's exciting. I love it. I always said that we have in my opinion, we have a really great electoral system in our state of Kansas compared to other states. In fact, after the whole 2020 debacle, the state of Georgia reformed their elections and really based what they did off of what we're doing here in the state of Kansas. So what we're doing and what I know you've been working on for a while is really fine-tuning the system because we have a good system in place, right? We've just been kind of trying to fine-tune it to make it as perfect as we can.
Absolutely. Kansas elections are secure, but secure doesn't mean impregnable. It's a human system. There are vulnerabilities. And, when I'm not in the legislature, I'm a professor in the Homeland Security program there at Wichita State, right down the road from you. And, 25 years in the Army, you don't wait until the plane blows up to stop the bomb from getting on the plane. These people say, well, these things, there's no proof this has ever happened. You don't wait until it's happened before you fix the vulnerability. That's what I've been engaged in for 5 years is on the Elections Committee, and that's what I'm going to do as Secretary of State.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Looking at provisional ballots, we've done a really good job as well, I think, in the state with handing out provisional ballots and then being able to determine whether they're valid or not moving forward. Is that the kind of system that we want to look at is while you're purging the voter rolls and trying to see who should and should not be on there, are the provisional ballots what we should lean towards and say, hey, if you're concerned, if you're not sure whether you should be allowed to vote or not, giving out a provisional ballot and then figuring it out on the back end. Has that system worked so far, do you think, in Kansas?
It has. There was a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth that we were going to be removing legitimate voters from the rolls with stuff like, our new tools to get dead people off the voter rolls, our new tools to get people who've moved out of the state off the voter rolls, and, of course, getting non-citizens off the voter rolls. But if you go to the poll on Election Day, and you feel like you've been wrongly removed from the rolls, we let you vote, and we sit on that ballot as a provisional ballot, and you've got 2 weeks to fix the problem, whatever it is. So I think it's a great kind of due process stopgap just to make sure that we're not excluding folks that should be legitimately allowed to vote, while giving us time to make sure we're not counting the ones that shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a great point. We're talking with State Representative Pat Proctor, District Number 41 in the Leavenworth area, also now candidate for Secretary of State for the state of Kansas. You mentioned purging these voter rolls. There's been a concern about addresses and the address that is labeled as, where the person is lying, and there's, empty vacant lots, or there's businesses that people have as registered. Is that a cause for concern, and are those legitimate voters? Or, what's going on? Because I know that has been an issue. Is, are we doing a good enough job monitoring our voter rolls right now to see that all the information adds up for someone when they say that they are a legitimate voter?
Yeah, one of the things that I focused on as chair of the elections committee that I'm going to focus on as Secretary of State is cleaning up our voter rolls. As 3-4 years ago, I sponsored and passed a bill that allowed the election officers to check, see if somebody actually lives at that address, and if not, it kind of starts the clock to get them off the voter rolls. But the big thing we need to do is be communicating with the states around us. There used to be a system called ERIC, but then they started adding all these strings attached, like you have to do same-day registration. So rightly, we're not in that. We need to build new interstate compacts with all the states around us. So when somebody moves to Kansas, we can tell Texas or we can tell Missouri, hey, we're a better state. They moved to our state. Take them off the rolls, and vice versa, so that we can get these people off the voter rolls. Leavenworth is a high turnover area. When I go out and knock doors, I've got the voter roll in front of me. On the voter roll is the people who live there now, the people who lived there before them, and the people who lived there before them. Our voter rolls are a mess. We've got to get them fixed. Yeah, we got to get those cleaned up. Let's shift away from elections just for a little bit here. We've had a couple really heavy power hitters as our Secretary of State the last few rounds, with Chris Kobach, now Attorney General, with Scott Schwab, now candidate for governor as well. And they've worked really hard trying to essentially reform the Secretary of State's office, get some new technology, make it streamlined, work on, the ability for, the website and the portal for businesses to get their business registered and everything of that sort. Is that a focus you want to have as well, outside of just the election issue, but the other duties of helping with small businesses and businesses being able to work with the Secretary of State's office in Kansas? Yeah, everybody forgets about that side of the office. It's not sexy like elections, but, I'm a small business owner. Me and my wife, we own a restaurant here in Leavenworth and one in Manhattan. We started out in a little 19-seat place outside the front gate of Fort Leavenworth, and so we had to navigate that system. And it is Byzantine, but you have to go to the Secretary of State site to file for a corporation or an LLC, but then you got to go here to get your tax ID. You got to go there to get your food service license. I want the Secretary of State's office and the business division to be a one-stop shop so that entrepreneurs coming to our state or in our state starting a business can just go to one place and from there launch and do everything they need to do. They need to be worried about, how many tables and chairs they're going to have in the restaurant or how many employees they're going to have in their accountant firm. They don't need to be worrying about what website is the SF 2076 forum on. That's absolutely going to be a priority for me if I'm elected. Yeah, it's going to be exciting because we want to see that more growth. I mean, you see it in the legislature. We want to see the growth in the economy. We want to see more business come to the state of Kansas. And I feel that we have a great opportunity in doing so. You guys have been reforming the taxes and reforming some of the business regulations, and hopefully we can see that economic growth by watching more small business start in the state of Kansas and other businesses want to move to the state of Kansas, right? Absolutely. The Secretary of State's office should not be a roadblock to entrepreneurship. It should be a engine for economic growth in our state. And there's a lot of great people working in there. We just need to focus on making it easy for folks to start a business and cheaper. We only file half as many times for a corporation, but we're paying the same amount as we were before. That makes no sense to me. Right. So there's got to be room where we can reduce the fees because we don't want to be an obstacle to growth in our state. We want to be an engine.
That's what it's about. I love the excitement. Last couple of questions for you, Pat, and I appreciate it. State Representative, District Number 41, candidate for Secretary of State now. What's the next step? I know it's early. We're still about a year and a half out from the midterm elections of next year, but obviously the campaigns are starting now. What's the next step for the campaign?
Yeah, well, the race I've been running here in Leavenworth for the House for the last 3 cycles, this is one of the toughest districts in the state. I'm the first Republican reelected here since 1994, and I just did the three-peat. So I know tough races, but this really is an order of magnitude. So I just ask your listeners, if you want to get involved in our campaign, go to Pat Proctor with an O-R, the number 4, KS is in Kansas.com. Sign up. We're going to need folks in every corner of the state to get the word out. And, next year, get the signs out, knock on the doors, and do all the things we need to do to get elected.
That's what it is, and it's starting up now. Pat Proctor, the number 4, KS.com. Go and check out the website and all the information if you want to know more about the man himself. Pat, congratulations on the announcement, my friend. I know it's only going to get crazier from here, so I'm sure we'll be talking with you as the elections ramp up. But good luck, and I'm sure we'll chat with you again for another legislative update here soon.
Thanks for having me, and appreciate all your help and support through the years.
Hey, you bet. State Representative Pat Proctor, great stuff. We appreciate it, and congratulations on that announcement. That's exciting. Stepping up, running for these races. We're going to have a wild midterm election here in the state of Kansas for 2026, and we will keep you informed of all of it going on right here on Wichita's Big Talker, KQAM, and Kansas Talk. All right, your phone calls when we come back right around the corner. Lots more to get to, other issues going on around the state, and more of our legislative updates. It's Kansas Talk, KQAM. Stay here.